Lexi, you seem to have really come into your own and improve a lot from your freshman to your sophomore year. Just what went behind that, and how have you felt about your first couple of performances this year?
I'm really just starting to enjoy competing. I think I lost that a little bit before I got here. So it's just been really fun to compete and have fun and not compete nervous or scared. Just compete free and do it for everyone and do it for the team. I think my approach is just a little bit different, going in and just doing my normal and a little bit better at self-care and just doing what I need, what I want to do, and less about, not less, but like focusing on myself first and then others around me and having a good mix of that, and just relationships. I've built relationships with people really well this year, so just a good mix of everything.
Emily, it's going to be your first meet in the PMAC on Friday. How are you feeling, and what are you doing to prepare for that?
I'm really excited. I got a little taste of it during Purple and Gold, but I'm just excited to be out on the floor again with a full crowd out there. I've never experienced something like that, so I'm excited to do it with these girls especially.
This can be for either of you, but what did last week at Georgia teach y'all as a team, and how are you using that to go into this week?
I think our main approach is just like moving on. We addressed what we needed to address in a team meeting, and it was all really good, very athlete-led, and just what we felt went good and what we felt we needed to work on. But it's early and just growth at this point, like just continuing to grow, focusing on ourselves, not focusing on others and what the scores are, just focusing on how we can improve.
Yeah, it definitely brought us closer too. We were able to like evaluate, have each other's back, but also realize, what went wrong and what we can do better going into this week's meet.
All right, Lexi or Emily, this one is for either of y'all, and I kind of wanted to stray a little bit away from last week and away from this week, but I wanted to talk to you guys about what music plays a part when it comes to assembling your routines. Catherine, your guys' teammate, she had a video reposted by Planet of Gymnastics. She was seen lip syncing to her song on Beam, and it got a lot of commentary talking about gymnasts' relationship with music to their sport. So I wanted to know if there was any kind of heart when it goes into picking the songs that help you perfect those routines.
Yeah, I think music is something that a lot of us use to like settle our mind before meets. I personally love music like all the time. I have it on. So I think when you're able to get to pick it out either on floor or on beam, like you choose something that means something to you that in that moment you're able to listen to and it calms you down, and it's kind of just like a reminder of what you do every day. And Cookie, for example, like it helps her singing it while she's on the beam, like you saw. So it's just cool to see how everyone just takes what they get from their song, or it's kind of goes into their personality a little bit too, which is cool. Just represents themselves.
Yeah, I think it's like part of the fun is getting to choose like something that not separates you but makes you your own in like little ways. Floor routines, like we have very different floor routines. Mine's a little more upbeat, fun, and like darker, and hers is super like soft, if that's a way, like in a good way. It's like super calming, and I just love the way she does it. But that's what makes it fun, is like I could not do that type of floor routine, and so it just like, I don't know, makes it individualized. And going to beam too, it's like some people like more upbeat, some people don't. Just individualizing what you can, and also bringing your mind off what you're doing a little bit sometimes.
I have 2 questions for Lexi. So you were born in Omaha, then your family moved. When did y'all move to Minnesota so you could train there? How old were you?
After my freshman year, we did like kind of a split thing. Like we had a house in Minnesota, and then one was always with me, and my parents still worked. So, yeah.
So you're an Omaha girl, so
yeah.
People here love Omaha, as you probably
Yeah, yeah.
Runza fan, or will you have a Runza sometime when you go back? You stay away from those.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them before. A lot of people love them. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan, but yeah, it's a big thing.
And you said you really just started to enjoy competing again. You lost some of that before you got here. Is that related to the injury you had? And just tell us about that. Trying to get that back.
I think it's a mix. My injury was really hard. recovery didn't go the way we planned. It was supposed to be a little bit faster than it was, and just constantly in pain. There was never really a time I could get the pain to go away. So obviously that is not fun, trying to compete through something that is lingering and not feeling good, not feeling your best. And also just elite in general is hard. You're in the gym all the time. I didn't go to high school the last 3 years, and I was away from all my friends. So all of that mix just can sometimes bring down the love. But I had some great girls at the gym there that I still continue to talk to and love very much. That helped that situation. But I think it was a mix of the injury and just being away from my whole family too. The three of us weren't together very much, so that was also very hard.
How do you guys help uplift your teammates when maybe a routine doesn't go their way or something like that, and how do your teammates do that for you?
I think if you watch us in the gym every single day, you always see somebody on the team come up to, like Kaylin, for example, came up to me and helped me through vault yesterday. So I think we have a lot of leaders on this team that are able to, go to each person individually. And I think a lot of us are really receptive to that too, and it's helpful, and we also are able to do it back to them. So it's, anyone really can do it in the gym, which is cool.
Yeah, I think we talk a lot about practicing everything we do out there in the gym. So that just comes back to inner squads, comes back to just even practice what the next turn is and what you can back up your teammates with. We talk a lot about having each other's back, so we do practice that in the gym, so then when we get out there it's nothing new for us. Good. Thank you.
Oh, opening statement. All right. Not exactly the way we wanted it to go by any stretch of the imagination, but as I told Scott on Friday night, sky's not falling, and we're fine. We've got a great group of kids, and we knew going into this year that there might be a little bit of growing pains anytime you are kind of revamping and retooling some lineups and changing some things up early and trying to get some people ready at a different pace than some others. There's just a lot that goes into it. So certainly we don't want to self-destruct, and that's what we did. But Georgia's certainly an improved team, and that's a tough place to go. And we've been on the road for 2 straight weeks, and so going forward, we get to come home now and get in front of our people and feed off that energy and try to kind of hit the reset button and move forward. Again, these dual meets mean a lot to us internally, but they don't determine an awful lot as long as we, don't lay an egg and self-destruct to a place where we have to count some score that's just horrible and out of range. Then we're still in a good spot. But as much as I want to win them all, and I do, and I hate losing, and I've been, I had to get 24, 48 hours away from it before I can really digest the logic and dispense with the emotion of losing. It's not the end of the world.
Start with a update on Courtney, if you have something on
Courtney Blackson?
Yeah, her injury. And
I think she's fine. It was in vault warm-ups, and apparently she's had a history of, at least on the other leg, where occasionally she'll get kind of a low calf quasi Achilles where it inserts kind of strain, and she's kind of tweaked it. She said it wasn't as bad as it's happened to her before on the other side. So I would say she's day to day, just in terms of, especially on vault. I think on bars she'll be fine, but we'll probably just have to watch her for a few days to make sure. It was much better yesterday coming out of the weekend, so improvement, and she's moving around on it. There's nothing that we look at long term, at least at this point, with that.
Jay, what do you make of your vault lineup as of now through the first 2 meets?
Well, it's been certainly been hit or miss. It's not certainly Friday night was we got sloppy and landings were sloppy, and that's something that we're addressing. We started that yesterday, making sure that we understand that what we do in practice has got to be at a high standard. We cannot take things for granted and expect to progress the way that we want to progress throughout the season. I don't have any problem this time of the year with not with not landing things completely clean, but we've got to be in the ballpark and we've got to show control. And in a couple of instances, we didn't show control, and you know, that's just something that we've got to address and improve on. You know, we made the change when Courtney came out of the lineup. We had to move the lineup around a little bit, and we got to get Nina more consistent on vault. We got to get Connor and Kalia back out there on vault. We've got, you know, so we have some other things that, you know, brewing anyway on that event. But the people that are in there right now are fully capable of giving us the score that we need. They've just got to be dialed in, and we've got to be able to replicate that in practice.
Anticipated my question. Obviously, Connor and Amari are very talented gymnasts. They just have had some wobbles in both the first 2 meets. Do you want to dial back? Do you want to keep them out there in the same way? Do you don't change anything about their routines? I'm
No.
sure.
No, I mean, I seem to recall this time last year, Leah Finnegan going out of bounds a few times, and you guys wanting me to put her on a barbecue spit or something. I don't know how you wanted me to respond to that. These kids are going out there giving us all they can, and they're showing great things in practice. And my message to them yesterday is keep doing what you're doing, especially Amari. Amari's gold. I mean, Amari gives us consistency in training as much as anybody. And you know, but you make a mistake, it can cause your confidence to fail a little bit, and then we do something called ghosting, where we get in the situation again and we look back and we, you know, oh my God, I don't want to do that again, kind of mindset. And that's the challenge, is to keep them focused on moving forward and not looking backwards. And so answering this question in and of itself is looking backwards. It's not that it's a bad question, but it's revisiting things. And so I've got to work with them to make sure they're not, you know, they can't ever look backwards. Well, even if the result's great and they go out there and get a 995 every time, they cannot look back at that other than to have their confidence grow. And I just need to make sure that they're stable in terms of their confidence, because Amari Drayton's fully capable of doing that floor routine. She's done it this is the 3rd year, and it's relatively easy for her, but it was a mental mistake. And you know, Connor's was her first time out, and we had put her on a different pace, and we flirted with the idea of waiting to come home and put her out there the first time, but just felt like the timing was right. She looked great in training, and I think her confidence just needed a little more time. So that might have been a coaching mistake, putting her out there a week too soon. We debated it, and sometimes when you have to debate things, you should err on the side of caution, and that might have been a mistake on my part, but I certainly am not blaming either one of them. This is a team thing, and we talked about that yesterday. This isn't about who made a mistake, because that can change week to week, and we're going to make mistakes. They're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. They did a pretty good job of not letting it snowball, and they finished on beam very strong and started out very strong. There are a lot of good things happened in there. You had one of them sitting in here today, in Lexi Zeiss, who's seen her role significantly increase, and there's a lot of confidence that she's showing right now. So for everything that we're a little early looking and a little bit that meet was not out of sync with what you would expect and what you've seen in the past for our first home meet. We've gone high 196s around here for several years and not missed a beat. Just so happened we were on the road against a very good team, and it was too much. We slipped up too much. So, again, we can focus on the negative, or we can take the things, we can learn from those mistakes, and we can move forward, and we can accent the positive. And for me, that's the route that I'm going to take with these guys, because I believe in their ability. I believe in the potential of this group, and if they will coalesce around that belief and around each other. You know, the one thing that I'm still waiting to see is who's going to take the reins. Who's going to say it starts and ends with me? And that's the one thing we want to see, is just somebody really be that staunch look to me leader. We've got great kids. We've got lots with great leadership quality, but it's early in the season and you're replacing somebody that's been in that role for a long, long time around here, and we're still trying to find our footing a little bit with that.
Like you said, we've seen some great performances, and it's only the second meet of the season, or the third meet of the season. Now that you guys are back home, are we going to see any lineup change, like maybe Emily on vault or Nina back on floor?
Emily, we'd like to get her in on vault at some point. I don't see that happening this weekend. I think it's more likely that you see Kalia get in there. We won't know for sure as we get. We kind of did our. This is our first week of a normal cadence for us, where we can get 3 days in because of the Saturday meet we had in Salt Lake, and then starting on the road. We only got 2 days in between, so we didn't have a lot of chance to really take a look at a whole lot of variation between those two. This is the first week we get into our sort of Monday troubleshooting, knock the rust off day. Today will be a pretty hard work day, and then we'll go into an inter-squad situation on Thursday before we compete on Friday. That'll be when we finally know exactly what we're doing. But I think you could see some changes coming. There's several people we'd like to get in on vault. There's several people we'd like to get in on bars. Haley Mastari has one of the most beautiful bar routines in the gym. I'd like to get her in, but she's got to be more consistent in training, and those are the conversations that we're having. If she does that, you'll see her in on bars too. Got to get Lexi Jeffrey back out there. She's ready to go, or pretty darn close, and so there's a lot of options that we have available to us. So ultimately, it comes down to kind of who's the hot hand and what gives us the best chance to win in this moment. That we have to look at week to week. So I couldn't really tell you specifically who's gonna be out there that's different, whether that's Emily. I can tell you we would like to get Emily in on vault at some point. We think she has the potential there.
Jay, was there anything in like the preseason or during off-season training that maybe you thought could be concerning come, the season, that actually surprised you that they're really good at?
That surprised me that we're doing better at than I anticipated, or?
Yeah, like you were like, maybe we have to work on this more, but they're actually handling it well, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. If I was coming into the fall, I thought, Beam was where a lot of question marks, sort of, on paper seemed to exist, right? You lose Haley and you lose Aaliyah. Those are two like thumpers at the back end of your lineup. So how's that going to work out? And you lose Sierra, who's been your leadoff, which is like a linchpin kind of situation. So we had question marks there, but I've been super impressed with how they've started the season on that event. Just there's a good level of confidence there. It's pretty evident in what they're doing. I think Lexi Zeiss has been a big piece of that. She's cleaned up a lot. She's shown a great deal of confidence over there. I think Kylie Cohen deserves a lot of credit moving down into that leadoff role and just looks amazing doing so. And I don't remember what she scored at Georgia, but it was like 95, and she went 9.9 in the first meet. So you got to have those things. So I think balance beam probably has been not a surprise, but a little bit easier in the early going than I had anticipated. Now that I say that, we'll probably go somewhere and have trouble on balance beam. But it's I think if I was looking at it in August, I would have thought that's probably if we're gonna take a little minute to find ourselves, that might be it. And it's turned out not to be the case.